I am now creating weekly exclusive content for Patreon, so if you are interested in that, go check out the link down below. And of course, if you want to avoid the random lottery of FIFA points, you want to go straight to the source, buy the players directly, use u7buy.com and use the code TVM at checkout. What is going on, guys? TVM here. Welcome back to another player review. Today, and this time, 90 rated Team of the Season Harry Maguire, available through the Premier League SBC. So if you are one of those League SBC method fellas, or fellarettes, sort of women, then you'll be loving this, because you're going to pick this guy up quite easily, if not already. And if you've got him already, what the hell are you doing watching this? Go use him. That's the way you're going to find out whether he's good or bad. But I'm actually recording this for the second time, because my first review, having watched it back and played a few more games, I've sort of changed my mind a little bit. So my initial review was not necessarily a bad one. I was just picking up on a few things that I didn't like about the card. And I was about to render it, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go play a few more games. I'll put Aubameyang out first, because I was originally going to put this out first. But I thought, no, Aubameyang's already done. I'll get that out, and I'll play a couple more games with Maguire. Didn't expect to change my mind. But here we are. So the initial points I had were not necessarily with just stats, because it was a little bit of the gameplay as well. So the acceleration, I thought initially would be a problem. 70 acceleration, 79 sprint speed. And to be fair, it kind of is at times, and we'll get into that. The other issue that I had was the high attacking work rate. It very much reminded me of Sergio Ramos. I don't think... Has Ramos got high, or has he got medium-high? I'm not sure. Either way, Ramos has a high attacking work rate. So what happens sometimes with Ramos is that he does venture forward. Not like crazy amounts or, very far forward. He might just be, I don't know, maybe 10 feet above the back line, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it can cause problems and it can leave gaps. And if you're up against some really quick players, you are going to fall short. And of course, it's going to be his fault because he's out of position, something he could have prevented were he in position. And I've got the player moments Ramos, was it 93 rated? The right back. I do play him at centre back though, off chem albeit, but still. And I've got the 90 UCL. I've used him for over 150 games. So I know what I'm talking about with regards to a centre back with a high attacking work rate. And of course Maguire has that. He does have a high defensive as well, so that is something. He's got absolutely no agility, no balance. He is 6'4", so you wouldn't expect him to feel very good in terms of jockeying or anything, which I'm happy to report that he doesn't actually feel that bad. And he doesn't feel that slow either, which is a little bit of a surprise. He's got decent defensive stats. I wouldn't say they're like off the chain or anything. With an anchor attached to him, he does turn into a 97 rated centre back. I would actually recommend the shadow over the anchor. It's just, even for review purposes, I am not going out and spending 30,000 coins on a chem style just for the sake of using Maguire for, 6 or 7 games. So I'm going to use an anchor for the time being, but just know that if I were to keep this card over... Obviously, I'm going to keep him, but if I were to play with him regularly over time, then I would switch into a shadow. The only thing that I'm going to feel differently about from the anchor to the shadow is more pace, I would imagine, because the anchor gives him 5 acceleration, 5 sprint speed, whereas the shadow, as I switch into it here, gives 15 acceleration, 10 sprint speed. The only thing that we don't get is the 7 aggression, the 1 strength, and the 7 jumping. I'm really not bothered about those anyway, because I don't feel like it makes enough of a difference for me to warrant using the anchor over the shadow. So there we go. Now, let's get into the clips. And this is one of the teams I played. I mean, this guy's team is absolutely mental. He wasn't necessarily the best of players, but his team was so good that it allowed him to just have a little bit more time on the ball, a little bit more room. His players were quicker, more responsive, and we lost. I deserved to lose the game, 100%, but I just feel like if we had even teams, it would have been a different story. But that is the case for an awful lot, I'm sure, of people's defeats in the game. A lot of people will attribute their defeat to an opponent having a better team rather than being a better player, but I digress. I'm not bitter about it, it's only rivals. So, the initial review had me down saying Maguire was a good sort of no-nonsense centre-back, however, he lacked pace, and he got caught in behind. Sometimes he was a little bit sluggish, and he wasn't very good at this, that, and the other. And it wasn't me saying that he was a bad player. Although I do attribute maybe some of that to his fault there. The blame doesn't solely lie at his door there, but he could have maybe done a little bit better. And you could argue that my defending isn't up to par, and that's fair enough. I will take that on board, and I'll accept it. And that probably should have been a penalty. Don't know how I got away with it, but I did. So I'm happy enough to report that you get a little bit of luck when you're using Maguire. Maybe it's that Man United badge, I'm not sure. But with that being said, my review has changed now because this game, and this is the one that I'm featuring, I will have other clips from other games in a sec, but most of the clips are going to come from this game in particular because this is the game that changed my mind. We lose the game, we concede goals, and yet one of them is his fault. However, in most cases in this game, Maguire is back there. He was out of position. He ventured further forward than maybe he should have done. He was tracking back, but he wouldn't have come back quick enough. So that problem still persists. And I haven't got necessarily a high line, but I don't have a deep line. I think I'm on like five depth, 4, probably 5. And pressure and heavy touch as well. So I'm not a drop back or anything like that. If you do play drop back, by the way, you'll like this guy more than if you were to play sort of I don't know, like pressure and heavy touch or just balanced in general. But Maguire changed my mind in this game. And I'm not basing the sole review on one game, obviously, because like I said, this is a completely different game, for example. I'm sort of swayed by his ability. So in these games, he was okay, he was nothing special, and that's what made me make the initial review. And then in that one game that I played at the end, the 6th game, it kind of made me think, well, hang on, he's capable of doing this because he had such a good performance. Yeah, he was out of position once, and he may have been at fault for one of the goals that I conceded, and had I not conceded that goal, who knows, it might have finished 1-1, right? But that's irrelevant. He showed me in that game that he was more than capable of keeping up with Adama Traore, which is, I mean, let's be honest, in real life, no one keeps up with Adama Traore, but in FIFA, for some reason, I wasn't catching him necessarily, but I was more than capable with Maguire to stop the attack advancing when Adama had the ball. And I've used Adama Traore. That's the part of his game I love. His ability to just run through people. He couldn't run through Maguire. Maguire was stopping him at every turn. There was only one instance where Maguire was beaten, and that's when the goal went in. And the other instance where we were beaten, Ogbonna came across, and luckily we did really well to get it clear. But his slide tackling is spot on. His stand tackle is very good. His positioning is actually incredible, which he's got 99 defensive awareness with a chem style, obviously 91 without. So it's good on paper, but it's not amazing on paper without a chem style. I will say value for coins is low, and the reason for that, and I've got it down at 50 for a reason. It's kind of like a 50-50 situation. Basically, if you're doing League SBC method and you did the Premier League ready, you had a much better deal than someone who was going out specifically to get this card for doing the Premier League, right? Because if you're doing the Premier League now, you're having to buy players when everyone else is trying to do it, and also when they have the PL upgrades out. And I've seen some leaks as well that we are going to get 82 plus Premier League upgrades as well. Maybe we get one, maybe we get them repeatable, I don't know. But either way, that will likely increase Premier League player prices even more. So if you're doing it now, it's not worth it. If you're doing it in a week or two, it will still be a little bit inflated, I'm sure. But if you do League SBC method just naturally, then this is going to be one of those cards you pick up and it's not going to cost you an awful lot. So that's why it was really difficult for me to say value for coins and give you a correct figure, because it's value for some, it's not for others. You know, if you're doing the method, it's value. If you're not, then it's just not, you know, one of those situations. He's got an awful lot of pros. His cons, a lot of people will question the stamina. For a centre-back, honestly, 76 is fine. The deeper you play, the better he is, because he doesn't get caught in behind. The higher you play, the worse he's going to be, because he will get caught in behind. 5 depth, he was fine. He didn't really get caught that often. Now and again he would, but not really that often. His jockeying is fine. It's not super responsive and super quick, but it's quick enough. I just think that the more team of the season cards that come out, and the better like we get the team of the season Neymars and Mbappes and such, this card is going to feel worse as we progress. So it's good. I do like it. It actually did surprise me because I didn't expect to like him. And like I said, I changed my mind on this review because I thought, well, not that great. But that game made me think, well, he is a lot. If you're good at defending in this game, you could actually use Maguire and he could be really good. So good review. Good card, not worth doing specifically just to get this card though. I would stay away from that. But if you are working your way through the leagues or you have prepared it and maybe you're one team away, I do think it's worth taking the plunge and finishing it off. Hopefully that helped some way or another. If it did, then do me a favour and hit that like button. Let me know what you think of the card in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And until the next time, goodbye.
Football Index. The game changed. Download the app now.